welcome to another episode where me and Gwyneth Paltrow are becoming even more similar. We're not actually, but I do love watching her videos and looking at her kitchen, which was recently on Architectural Digest. Check it out on the YouTube channel, and also give yourself half a day to go through the rest, because you can't just stop at one. Anyway, Esther Blum is a dietitian. She's an author and she's an entrepreneur. And the link that I have with our pal Gwyneth is that Esther was on my podcast 3 years ago, and she's recently been on the Goop podcast. So we don't really talk about diet and food and nutrition in this episode. We talk a lot about business, actually. And Esther takes it right back to the old school. And I think you'll get loads from it. Even when I listened back to it, I was like, oh, yes. And she really gave me a nudge that I needed. So thank you, Esther, for that. Next, I'm talking to Farrah, who is a filmmaker and creative. And Farrah is somebody over the last few years I've actually worked with, and I've really noticed how she has changed creatively, how she's moved into much more of a position of really driving her own career. And she's a really interesting person to follow online, and you'll see her on the TV all the time. She's recently signed with my agent too. So I'm really delighted that her career is going from strength to strength. What a beautiful thing to hear that from a woman in their 40s, doing it. Brilliant. Next, we move to Emily Lawler, who is the founder of Mama Needs a Mimosa. Yes, I hear you. She began bringing a community together and created a restaurant review site for parents. It's golden, that ability, and I find it more and more so that I want a Google review. I want somebody to say where something is near. If somebody can do the groundwork for me, oh my goodness, I will give them my money all day long. And actually, as I think about traveling more and more so, when I was thinking about my vision board and where I want to go next, and I've got a lot of travel in me, I feel I want somebody to suggest great places for me. That would be lovely instead of trawling. Also, booking flights online is a real nightmare. So as in, they're not clear, and I always am worried that I've done it wrong. Anyway, Emily has loads to say. She was a delight to speak to, great sense of humour, and I really loved it. Finally, in this bundle, Susie Lodge, who is the founder of Wiki Places for Kids. You may be listening to this in the summer holiday, and if you are, I salute you, I see you, we are nearly there. Do check out her website. She is the equivalent of a TripAdvisor for kids' places, things to do with families, and again, gives you so much insight as to what you need to be prepared for, what you should take, what's available. Oh, it's so good. So I hope you enjoyed this bundle. I will see you again in the next episode. Do check out my website, nickiraby.com, and do check out that freebie page, because the freebie house is live. So I'm excited to hear which room you go in first. I will say no more. Just check it out, nickiraby.com/freebies. Lots of love. Bye.
Nose across the board, and I'm like, holy crap, what's going on? And then I will just keep plugging away, doing outreach every day. I do outreach every single day. And then it will
look like for you, because if people are unsure what to do, because I think as well, with my acting career that I've had, that so many people wait for the phone to ring or for permission or the next thing, and they go, I don't know what to do in between. And my feeling is I don't have enough time to do all the things that I want to do in between, because I feel like I'm always striving for the next thing. So what does outreach look like for you, and how can people do it effectively?
It's ridiculously simple. Again, people get really complicated. People are behind their computers all day, and they're doing stupid social media posts. Let me tell you how so little of my business comes from social media. I do it because it's social proof. gives me social proof. So somebody can just, as a new client, they can go to my social media account and see what I'm made of. But my business may not be your business. Some businesses do get, I have many colleagues whose businesses do run on Instagram. Mine in particular doesn't. But so I'm old school. I am very much a face-to-face person. I will get in my car and drive a 1 mile radius of a town near me. And I will literally walk into every business and say, a gym, an Orange Theory. We have, I don't know if you have an Orange Theory there, or an Equinox, or whatever gyms you have. I show up and I literally hand them my card and say, can I speak to the manager? I will go into spin studios, Pilates studios, bar studios. I will go into meta spas. I will go into Botox studios, cryotherapy. Do the 1 mile radius exercise where you walk into every single business that is remotely prospective for you. You bring a business card, you get the phone number of the person, and you call them and call them and call them and email until they say yes to a meeting. And you keep following up and following up and following up, and you keep track on a spreadsheet of who you've called on what days.
Forward on that. What has been helpful to you to almost have that trust and keep the faith that this is going to come to something, that it's worth you putting all of that skin in the game?
I massively trust my instincts as an editor, as a director, as just a general creative. And I believe that if you have an idea and it just keeps coming back to you, or you keep mentioning it, that you want to make this thing, that it's meant to be made, you're supposed to explore that, because you wouldn't be talking about it otherwise. But as I've grown older, I've realised perhaps not to talk about so much the stuff we want to do. But if it keeps coming back into your mind, just start creating it. Start putting pen to paper. So when I had my second child, who is now 5, I started writing a feature film. I'm on the second draft of it now. It's taken me 5 years, as well as editing and the other stuff that I do. But it's an idea that hasn't stopped being attractive in my mind, or something that would be really, really good to make. So that's how I trust what my mind or my heart might be telling me. I'm quite instinctive in that sense of, okay, that idea has been coming back to me so many times. I need to invest the time in it. And actually, the main thing beyond that is to focus on getting something finished. Because I think it's very easy to start ideas and get really excited about them, romanticize them, they're going to be like this and that. But unless you actually have something on paper to present to somebody once you've actually mentioned the idea, it's quite difficult to get anything off the ground.
The most beneficial thing, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily the most lucrative way to make money. I think it is a small additional income stream, which means that I don't have to work quite as much as a nurse, which means that I'm home more to see Max, which was the aim the whole time. But the thing that I've gained out of it more than anything, which I was fully surprised by, was the huge number of friends that I have made, all new mum friends. Because, it's one of those things where when you have kids, the pre-kid friends disappear. And a lot of mine did. And I have this huge community of women that I really adore, that are in my phone every day and also at my events and supporting me and being awesome. And it's friendship more than anything is the big thing that I think I've really gained from doing this.
Concept of the site, and I had a very clear idea how I wanted it to look. So probably a little bit controlling in that way, and that's probably why I didn't end up going for something particularly off the shelf in a directory sense.
I think that's really good to be controlling and really clear about what you want. And I often say this to my clients where they kind of go and get help, and then they sort of do that, like, can you just do me something nice? You know what I like, and the request is so random that everything kind of goes round the houses. So the people who are listening, if you can really nail down what that is and have examples, if I've ever helped people to go and have headshots or something like that, I'm make some kind of mood board of what sort of setting you want for, what do you want to look like? I mean, there is sometimes a sense of trying to look realistic. If if I'm in my lounging pants, I'm not going to be like, can you make me look like Gwyneth Paltrow, please? That would be great. But just giving a sense of a mood, because then when you're working with somebody, they can kind of do their work behind the scenes, and then you get to the solution quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, and also, how are you, so you've had your third baby, how are you sort of managing your time on a day-to-day, sort of like, how do you know what tasks to focus on that is going to drive the business forwards? Because I think sometimes there's this sense of like, I don't know what to do, or when people reach a plateau, they don't quite know how to get things moving and shaking again.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm 12 weeks in again on number 3. So Lily is only 12 weeks today. So in all honesty, I am really, I am winging it a bit right now as well. And I just had a little operation as well.
I've never heard a mother say that at all, really?
So I just had a little operation as well, just to fix another blimmin' postpartum problem from my second baby. That's all, if anybody's following me on Instagram, you'll have had a full-blown vision of all of that. But I think I came out of the blocks at the beginning of this year, just really clear that this is the year for me to make a go of it. And